And now a CNN exclusive, CNN has learned that the Trump administration is moving to send hundreds of Guatemalan children back to their home country. Now, these are children who arrived in the United States unaccompanied. It's just the latest in a series of Trump moves since he returned to office to focus on unaccompanied migrant children. Our Priscilla Alvarez broke the story, and she was back along with Vivian and Phil. Priscilla, explain who these children are, how they came here, and what the significance is of them going back without getting their full hearing in the process.
So these are children who arrived to the U.S. southern border unaccompanied, which means they didn't have a parent or legal guardian with them. They may have arrived as part of a group of migrants who turned themselves in at the border, but they are put in the custody of Health and Human Services. They are the ones who are charged with their care. While they are in government custody, officials look for, quote, sponsors in the United States. That means a relative. They often have someone here, maybe a parent who's here, to place them there while they seek protections in immigration court. So is there a reason that they should remain in the United States, be an asylum claim? Sometimes trafficking concerns arise, a multitude of protections that can come up in these proceedings. What the administration is talking about here is plucking children from Guatemala who are in custody, more than 600 of them, who do not have a parent in the United States, even if they have a sister, aunt, somebody else, and sending them back to Guatemala. The reason that this is both unprecedented is because of the scope. Even though some children have decided in custody, I actually want to go back to my home country, there's an entire process for that because they can be quite young. They don't know exactly what they're signing up for. Well, here we're talking from 0 to 17. So we're talking the whole gamut. So a young child, and I've heard anecdotes of this, aside from this reporting, could be a 4-year-old who says, I want to go home. Does a 4-year-old really know what that means? So there's an immigration judge they have to go and talk to see, do you understand the severity of the situation at home, of what you're asking for? In any case, these kids, from my reporting, don't appear to have the chance to do that. They would just be sent back home. And in some cases, it may be that they want to be reunited with their family, and they will be reunited with their family. In other cases, we don't know if the situation they were fleeing was bad to begin with, and we're sending them back.
And that's really a key question, which is, if you look at this kind of big picture, just even as a parent, I would think like, okay, what are the reasons an unaccompanied minor would come from a country without their parents or without the closest relative? And one question is, did the parent, as you were saying, want them to have a better life and send them with somebody? Or were they abducted? Were they taken by a smuggler? And so those are all possibilities, but what you're saying is that the process to answer those questions, which usually happens here in the U.S., is being short-circuited?
From what we know, it's not clear how the administration wants to approach this, exactly what process or legal mechanism they are going to use, because this hasn't been done before. But plucking any child out of an immigration proceeding where those questions would have been answered, that is sort of the alarm bell. And in child advocates who work with these kids day in and day out, that it can be the case, Dana, which is that parents can't protect their kid back at home. They were fleeing their parents' situation at home. So it can really run the gamut. This is being done in partnership with Guatemala. So it's not as though the U.S. is just sending them back and leaving it to Guatemala to figure out. What I am being told is that they are working in coordination with one another. But this hasn't been done before. And we do know that the administration is fixated on migrant children and
definitely.
Sending them back.
And they have been for some time. Let's just look at the numbers so far. We are almost in September, so the president has almost been in office for, well, I would say 8.5 months. And the number of people deported since he returned to office, 200,000 just by ICE, and in total about 350,000, because that includes a lot of people self-deported.
And U.S. Customs and Border Protection.
Yes, exactly. And so just to give you context for people out there, the last time the agency recorded this many deportations was actually under President Obama. That was 316,000, and that was in all of 2014.
I think the way to look at those numbers is that they view this as just a starting point still, But Priscilla may correct me on this, but I think that what Priscilla and our teams have done such a great job reporting on is just how significant the pressure is to keep getting numbers up, to keep getting numbers up, to keep getting numbers up. And when you start linking together things like what Priscilla is reporting here with the children, but also just what you're seeing in Washington, D.C. right now, the federal takeover of the kind of law enforcement capacity is as much an immigration issue as it is a beautifying the city, as it is a crime in D.C. And that is very obvious, whoever focuses on that or not. Like if you go around, where people are being stopped is by ICE officials.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a way to get into Sanctuary City.
Yep.
With ICE. Real quick, CNN is reporting that Border Patrol arrests included 2 firefighters, and they were fighting the biggest wildfire going on in Washington state. They were in the country allegedly illegally. Patty Murray said, went after the president for this. Trump undercut our wildland firefighting abilities in more ways than one, decimating the Forest Service and pushing out thousands of critical support staff, now apparently detaining firefighters.
They obviously are making a sweeping action that it goes way beyond what President Trump initially said, which was we're going to go after criminals. We're going to go after people, not only people here illegally, but especially we're going to prioritize criminals. And this is what is alarming people. A, just the vast scope of this, but also B, the fact that due process and just the right to seek asylum for so many people has been denied because they're being sent back.
And on the firefighters, we don't have all the details about who these 2 individuals were, but what it is indicative of is the widening of the aperture for immigration enforcement. And places where before, because I've covered this a long time, agents might take a step back and decide to apprehend that person somewhere else, given the situation that they were in, where they were fighting this blaze. And it also ultimately speaks to what Phil was saying, which is numbers. Immigration has frankly always been a numbers game. We usually talk about it along the U.S. southern border. That's quiet right now. Now it's about interior arrests. And the more that pressure builds, because they want to get to 1 million deportations a day, the more you start to see actions like the one on the West Coast.